Hi everyone, Ni Hao Bonjour to the online world, and so the discussion today would be around the understanding of the. I already set the boundaries for the discussion, that is pharma safe. For the longest time, this discussion has been discussed in different forums, and particularly the standpoint view of the understanding of the medical field is very minuscule to the non-medical fraternity. A very simple example which can be talked about and has been discussed not from today, almost now more than 2 decades, because those were some of the applications I had worked on way back, and that is basically the prescription written by a medical doctor. When I say medical doctor, it means the basic degree is MBBS. I'm not talking about dentist, I'm not talking about physiotherapist, I'm not talking about homeopathy and others, because in the name of, or I would rather say entire 2, entire 3 series, you would be seeing people who are not qualified and they are practicing as medical practitioner, and that has to be regulated, which is not regulated. That is point not to be discussed in detail, but the point is a recent judgment just came along, and perhaps we have our own longevity in time biotech modules, and these are like 400 plus modules, so it's very extensive, and plus those are just something which we have disclosed in the patent application. That doesn't mean that's the only landscape we have with us right now. It has more parameters and it looks into a lot of data sets. So understanding that data itself, it is important to understand somebody who really goes through the drill of becoming a medical doctor. I mean, now the competition is too much. Even biological age candidate who is 11 to 12 years old, just because the parents want their kids to be medical doctors, they push them to the arena of becoming or start studying about the entrance exam, which is really tough. And Indian medical doctors from government colleges, real government colleges, are really good because they go through rigorous training, rigorous entrance exam and whatnot. So the recent judgment in India talks about that the prescription of the doctors are not legible. Let me tell you one thing. Logically, somebody who actually studies through the process, I mean the note-taking part is painstaking. I remember from my time, because I had PCBM. So PCBM is, I'm talking about in the context of India right now, because the pharmaceutical, after the agriculture sector in India, the second most important sector is the pharma sector in India, that is pharmaceutical. And it includes not only whatnot in terms of the patentability is being developed right now, but biosimilars, then the overall landscape of making medicine affordable for the longest time, and then all those I would rather say just few of the applications filed before these respective courts to have a discussion and stating that this particular composition is under evergreening, this, that, and whatnot. But let's just go back to the basics when we're talking about getting the models, which I'm of personal opinion that it has to be very proprietary model. If you use the GPTs and all, it is basically the data set which is being pushed by the different operators at any given point of time. And because there is deficiency of knowledge in terms of understanding of how internet and data works, that is going nowhere. So let's come back to the understanding of the OCR part first. And from the OCR point of view, for the longest time, it's already developed. It's not that what I'm talking about makes, it's not a new revelation, it's just that how it has been done over the years. So when you do the OCR of a document, obviously just the process of getting into the entrance exam and being proficient enough to clear the exam, which is a government exam, because then the fee structure is low. I'm not talking about the private players in India, but what I'm talking about here is oh, okay, we have a coder here. So if you have any questions, you can put your questions in the comment box. I'll answer it. I just want to complete this part. This is very important in terms of where India is heading. Thank you for the subscription. So the recent thing is that the doctor's writing is not legible, and because of that, the OCR cannot be done. And this has been the problem statement for the longest time. The first point of understanding here is someone who comes from a background, and particularly I'm talking about me in this particular case, is I understand the medical profession very well because of so many reasons. I'm not getting into my historical data set, but it is very important to appreciate that just the process of sitting for the exam and qualify for the exam, the writing speed becomes very fast. I mean, I remember when I was enrolled for preparing for this medical entrance exam, and it was nothing but note-taking pain and all these abbreviations, like even the word. I can't talk about Tier 2 cities because I always studied in Tier 1 city. So I'm just talking about my experience data set here. So say for example, the word which is without. So without in short form is supposed to be small letter C with a dash over it. So we learned a lot of lingo during those years, and perhaps that is one reason the medical colleges, the teachers and everybody plays a very pivotal role as far as the medical understanding or the medical entrance exam is concerned. So this whole understanding of the court of law in India, which says that prescriptions has to be legible, that cannot be the case, because once you are in that practice zone of writing and at that speed, because the basic understanding, if you take 10 steps back here, is the way the mind is being trained to be a medical doctor, and even there's something called as, the term is called as house job. So house job is basically where there are times that the medical doctor is serving in the hospital for almost 36 hours, and these are long hours. So doctors are trained to do this. So this is one aspect. The OCR things cannot happen because if, let's take one possibility that OCR is possible, then what is happening is the model is learning it, and then all these medical doctors who are supposed to be one of the most intellectual, intelligent beings out of the lot of the candidates who study in school, they become dumb and their pricing becomes dumb. I mean, right now there are startups, in the name of startups, they say medical doctor is charging them 100 rupees INR, that is not even, let's take it 1 USDT, that is 1 fiat currency, 2 fiat currency, 3 fiat currency, oh my gosh. Can we compare a medical doctor with somebody who is just doing the plumbing part? The answer is big no. Medical doctor profession in other countries is appreciated at a very high level and at a stature where the Indian medical doctors are serving the world in different parts, maybe in research and whatnot. That being said, this has to be discussed with the ILO. ILO has been trying to do this. So ILO stands for International Labour Organization, and under this ILO stuff, till now, I mean, we are, as far as the timeline is concerned, we are in the year 2025, but still we lack, as a collective reality is, we lack the understanding of good medical doctors. If you see, or whatever I would say, falsification has happened in last 2 decades or 3 decades, it was because the medical profession was sold. When I say it was sold, is like the private medical colleges came into being, and those private medical colleges, they ventured out in different ways just to capture the market. So the point of contention here is to understand the hashtag pharmasafe, and at the same point of time, the regulations of the people who are talking about, I mean, a person who is not even qualified is talking about, treatment of or even discussing any of the ailments. So that should not be allowed. I mean, even if now what is happening here is because the influencer and the creator economy got a boom after the lockdown, and that was just a use case study. We have to understand this very clearly. Because it was just a use case study, we have to take it as a case study. It was to see how the candidates are behaving in the online world and how they're utilizing the time. That being said, now what is happening is people are coming online, and particularly the female population of this country who are in the educated bracket, where I can say maybe, when I say educated bracket, I'm referring to folks who are 10 plus 2 plus, maybe undergrad, just to give a very basic data set of the candidate. Now, these candidates, when any woman or girl or any of the candidate is in the age bracket of 30 plus, I have to take this, I'll put myself on mute. Okay, so we were at the regulation part. Now, what is happening is a chunk of the population, in the name of wellness, in the name of self help, in the name of coaching, in the name of women health, everybody is talking about the things because they themselves are undergoing that. Now, when they discuss this in the online world and then they create a following, then what happens is companies who have some kind of agenda, they push their products to these influencers. However, so-called influencers or creators, they are not qualified to be medical doctors. And the discussion why medical doctors go through the CMEs, and there are so many things. There's so much discussion around whenever any medicine or any outbreak is done, there's a protocol to be followed, and that protocol is being followed by the medical fraternity. It's just that they are not very conversant with the internet in terms of the usage, because their mind is always to treat the ailment first. And let me tell you, from whatever understanding I personally have, and working with longevity in time biotech, even if I know about a lot of ailments, the medicines and everything, I don't speak about it because officially I'm not a medical doctor with a degree MBBS as one of my degrees. So I'm not the right person to even talk about it or discuss about it. I can always talk about the landscape in terms of the tech which has been filed or whatnot has been done over the years. But the real thing which is coming in a red data signal, which is like a dangerous signal, is the confluence of these females who have taken break after working in the corporate, and they get back after having their kids and all, and they're starting their business, which is a good thing. But discussing about medicine or medical related issues, they are not qualified to do so, and this should be discouraged. They should have, even if they want to discuss it, they should have very clear notices on the website, and the government needs to have these ministries in place rather than getting after something which is already in place. We are living in a new world order, and when I say a new world order, it means, in very simple words, we need to have ministries to look into what is happening online and do and prepare regulations around the same. We cannot stop the whole fraternity from working out the agenda items, but the basic protocols which have been established over the years because of so many reasons, those should not be touched. We have to upgrade the stack over the protocols which are already there. So this is something the government needs to see, and there are small players, big players in terms of the individuals who are mothers, who are whatever their qualifications are, and they are talking about medicinal stuff which they should not be talking about, in terms of that is only should be discussed through a registered practitioner. And these kind of things have to be regulated. And in very simple words, what needs to be done is, say for example, this is on YouTube. So YouTube needs to come with a criteria in terms of, at least just a checklist. Such a simple work whereby you have a checklist, then the person or the persona of the person is looked upon, and then only you are able to upload or talk about it. At the same point of time, even the websites which are being launched at any given point of time with any of the URLs, that also needs regulation. That is where the time and effort should be going, rather than stating that the OCR of doctors is not legible and the doctors need to write. Doctors need to see so many patients on a daily basis. That is next to impossible, and that possibility itself is like, if you tell somebody who is writing that kind of an order just to write 15 orders or 20 orders a day, then that person or that individual or that candidate will understand this is next to impossible. And that is why intellectual property rights and the related law practices, that has to be done in a very diligent manner. The contentious and the non-contentious matters which are before the court, half of the things are just something which can be laughed upon, and that is what is happening because it is not taken seriously in terms of the prevention is better than cure, right? And that particular tagline is very important. If you're able to understand the preventive measures, you regulate your workflow. And once the workflow is regulated, that will be upgraded with the data set. But that cannot be that, you just have the data set and you say that we don't need medical doctors and this AI model is going to clear all your doubts. Even for this stuff, there are these the online medical stores who are trying to just say that we are cutting off the cut of whatever reasons. That is one part. But if you take their stuff where they say that you have to take this prescription has to be through a medical doctor, and if you talk to that particular person who on the other end is supposed to be medical doctor, honestly speaking, me sitting in Delhi, if I just talk to that person, that even doesn't qualify for a qualifier in terms of not even a nurse. If I have to go into the nursing care, or somebody who has done MLT is medical lab technology or something, medical lab technician kind of degree, and these kind of degrees are being sold like hot pancakes all over India. So this is something which has to be regulated. And let me tell you, negligence doesn't happen because of one factorial stuff. There are zillion things or a line of chain which results in negligence. And negligence in many ways, because of the onset of this internet media, people are too intelligent in terms of they think they are medical doctors. And somehow I had to do the primary market research for longevity in time biotech over the years. I I mean, I visited far places just to get the data set right in terms of this wellness sector, this word of mental wellness and health and this and that, because we had these parameters which I was looking into, and the data set which I received from the other parties, because we got it done by different resources. I was not happy with the result, and somehow was I was able to go through the data set of the court laws, where there was a lot of emphasis on the word sound and unsound mind. And when I was studying law myself in the initial years, that time I used to smile. I used to smile because I used to think why we are reading this sound and the unsound mind. The point here is you go to the court practice, and particularly the lower courts in India. Oh my gosh! I mean, the kind of script which is written amongst the parties and whatever is orchestrated whole day, the kind of good chaos learning. And that is why all the lawyers who are the newbies, they are told to go and learn in the lower courts. You learn a lot just by observing it, and that is how people are able to build a career, not in the initial years. If you're talking about litigation, perhaps just litigation, I'm not talking about what we do as what we are doing for last more than 2 decades now, is observe, see, make connections, understand what is happening, and then you will be able to understand what I'm saying to be appreciated in a manner in which it has to be appreciated. Again, the consensus here is, just to end the discussion, look into the hashtag PharmaSafe. We were supposed to have this blockchain project ongoing. We had the discussion online in a couple of ways, but still I feel we are at a nascent stage. I'm not talking about longevity in time biotech, because that progress report is totally different. It is on a different track altogether, and of course it works, and I'm one of the candidates of that result. And we have been able to overcome Alice, which is like next to impossible kind of thing. So kudos to the whole team. It's a very, very big team in 140 plus countries. So we are doing, as a team, we are doing a fantabulous job. So kudos to the team. But when I talk about India in terms of the healthcare sector, in terms of the AI, in terms of the data aggregation, we are negative. It's not carbon negative, we are negative with the data set. All input data sets are wrong. So take every data as zero and see if we can restart it. We are at a stage where the progress report is negative for the pharma sector in terms of getting it online, because there is technology deficiency at the doctor's end, because doctors, perhaps they are busy with whatever they are doing and they're supposed to do, and that is not their part of the curriculum. And even I know for a matter of fact they have a subject called as biochemistry, and I was very lucky. So I did my graduation from Delhi University, which was applied science honors. So it was a very different course. It was like, I honestly feel like a medical doctor of applied sciences, because the course content was so diverse. Having said that, the important stuff there was, we had a very wonderful teacher of biochemistry, and she at her time had taught in a medical college, the Delhi government medical colleges. So she told us, how the students treat the biochemistry subject, because perhaps at that point of time when she was teaching in that era, it was not taken seriously. And honestly speaking, until unless you don't enjoy the subject, you will never enjoy biochemistry per se. However, I love the subject. I think a part of me, of what I am doing for the biotech or the bio and the food industry, is because of my understanding of biochemistry. Because I didn't study. For me, it was a Bible. There's a book called as Campbell. It's a Bible of biochemistry, and I had the original book, so I studied it. I understood Krebs cycle, I understood anything and everything. And one thing, because before sitting for the exam for biochemistry, so biochemistry I studied in multiple ways in my master's, but if I go back to my undergrad, so our teacher said that always trust your neurons, because the content was so vast. And I was like, I want to do well. I want to score 100 because obviously India is a country where scoring 100 means I don't know what to the parents. And I scored I think 80 to 85, and I was not very happy with that. But I was expecting somewhere 91, 92, because in my way of writing, I have a very different way. If you go back and see my patronation exam result, also the way I write my answer sheet, the way I draft or orchestrate or draft the framework of the patent application, whether it's a provisional or complete, it's very different. So I have my own protocols of understanding a subject matter. I won't say I'm a subject matter expert. I'm just someone who understands intellect in a very different format, and that is one reason I was able to work on all technologies and particularly in the telecom sector. So I think we're good for now. Thank you for watching this out, and thank you for not raising any questions. If you have any questions, you can always send us a DM and we'll get back to you. Have a great day ahead.